Hello, creatives, community, and kind folks. Welcome to RPG with DBJ, and welcome to this series of the Armchair Futurist, where um, I debate a particular point of view when it comes to AI. I don't know about you guys, but um, various new iterations of AI systems, large language models, have appeared in my feed, and I thought I would take the position of various different individuals and companies and factions and just the public and political agendas and take different positions and debate that point. And today we're going to talk about something very pie in the sky. As a matter of fact, you're probably going to see me swallow the sales pitch from the individuals that are creating these AI systems. And so sit back, relax, put your feet up, join in if you wish on Twitch or the YouTubes live, 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, as we talk about various positions of AI. But today we're going to talk about AI um, as the utopian key. All right, so I was a little bit sarcastic there, but not really, because there is a little bit of a dark, ugly side to imagining a utopia, and that involves the idea of watching me swallow, because I feel like uh, swallowing the the ad campaign, the progenitors of the AI systems, the pie in the sky. Uh, this is the thing that's going to solve all of humanity's problems. Um, end period. No questions asked. Is very much our. Um, it's like if it's too good to be true, and we've all known this before, then it probably is. So what's the downside? What is the cost? A lot of times when I hear people, I'm of a certain age where I just can cut people off just with with ease. And one of those things is when I start to hear like a sales pitch or something, I'll just cut to the chase and be like, "What's the damage? What? Okay, yeah, blah 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 blah. What is this going to cost me? What do I have to give up to get this thing that you're telling me? No, you want me to buy aluminum siding or a vacuum or a type of sneaker that's never been sold before. Yeah, okay, I get it. Right, it's going to make my life better, but what's the gimme? What are you asking for? And we're going to delve into that question. So, um, by the way, guys, if you have any, hopefully the chat is coming up. Let me see if I get it. Come on. What is happening here? Very strange. Huh. Okay. One of the things. Oh, we should be blasting off into space. We don't need to be thinking this way. We should be going here. So, Utopia. One of the things that AI, uh, the creators of these AI systems, is giving us is this idea that it's going to solve one by one, like knocking over dominoes, that infiltrate our lives and then start solving our problems one by one, vicariously. It won't even be a struggle. It'll just be the thing that's going to cure everything. It's going to bring about world peace. And the reason that they feel that way is because it will um, it will be PhD geniuses in our back pockets, and the geniuses that are using it will be able to create multiple versions of that genius and have a dozen, 100, 1,000 geniuses working on the same problem. Because remember, if you have one AI program, it could copy itself and then set itself to solve that problem. Oh, well, why copy itself once? Why not do it 15 times and all work towards the same goal? All 15 genius level programs coming back to us, and then comparing those issues with each other using yet other AI to do the same thing. And this could be done exponentially. And that's where the some claim that the singularity, that the true sentient AI will come about because it will make itself smarter by tasking itself to make itself smarter. And then each iteration that makes itself more smarter then copies itself, multiple times doing the exact same thing. And that it will rocket ship its intelligence. Now, what we don't have is AI plugged into a, a multitude of the way we interact with things. So today, it can spit back information and video and things of that nature, but what it cannot do is directly affect the world in a way that, like the Skynet, computers taking over the world kind of thing. Like, it can't go into so far. It can't on its own just go into our bank accounts, go into our energy grid, or affect distribution of goods and services, things like that. Human beings have to be involved in that. And the sales pitch is that, hey, if we just follow the AI, these things will come about. Now, it is true that there are industries that can very much benefit from AI. As a matter of fact, one of the scary things is that we hear that there's a doom and gloom for white collar jobs, blue collar versus white collar. For those who are maybe unfamiliar with the terminology, blue collar is like manual labor jobs, factory, for the most part, factory. Where it came from, people would just wear a blue jumpsuit, because you would get greasy or dirty or dusty or something like that. And those were blue collar jobs. Uh, well beyond farming, it more or less relates to manual labor jobs, digging ditches, putting things together, oiling things, construction, carpentry, plumbing, roofing, things like that. And then we got white collar jobs, sitting in an office or office like environment. And the idea was that people would wear their white short sleeve shirts, and it would be a white collar, clean job, but you're performing a job. And a lot of these jobs today, there's even a whole industry of BS jobs that are being automated. And the scary part about that we see today is AI being able to automate jobs that we thought were just not possible to automate. But if we take a deep look at it, some of these jobs are like BS jobs. They're just taking information, you look at it, and then regurgitating that information, or taking information, doing what essentially is simple math, and then regurgitating that information. And even if it's not simple math, an AI can do math that human beings don't necessarily need to watch over. They just need to watch for mistakes. And so a lot of that is being, whether it's art design or analysis or accounting, many looking up laws, anything that requires research can be done with AI. And now, of course, this is going to be for another episode about the displacement of people who would normally be doing those jobs, and either working themselves out of a job or not, or that job just not existing any longer. One of the ironies that I've heard is that, and I should be talking about a utopia, but anyway, one of the ironies about all of these companies wanting to adopt these AI systems is that the very people who are designing them are putting themselves out of a job. It'll get to the point, it's very likely it will get to the point that the smartest people creating AI, large language models, will be putting themselves out of a job, because once it's good enough to learn on its own and repeat itself, as long as, remember, we talked about yesterday, sometimes it's not good, it's just good enough. I'm gonna have to get the chat window. I have a feeling you guys are putting things in the chat, and my chat is not showing up. So I'm going to give me just a moment. I'm going to go to YouTube and Twitch and pull the chat windows up. Sorry about this. There's always a problem. The End King. Hey, Spook. What's going on? Okay, okay. Yeah. I gotta pop the chat out. Oh, there we go. Pop out chat. Yes, sometimes there's issues, sometimes there isn't. There we go. Because I feel like you guys and your opinions are so much so much better. All right, now I'm going. See, it's what in the world? All right. Let's go. Let me go to Twitch. I apologize for the delay. Pop out chat over on Twitch. No, there it is. And pop out chat. Why isn't it popping out? That is very strange. No, the chat shouldn't. It's my own chat. Why? There we go. All right. Yeah, it's not keeping up. All right, let's turn that off. Sorry about that, everyone. And pop out chat. Pop out chat. There we go. Yeah, much better. Much better. Sorry about that. All right, let's share. Let's close this part of the chat out and then share on the screen. There we go. Much better. I claim I'm a Luddite, but I'm all right. I'm okay. Hey there, Hen King says, no, AI will not bring these things. Humans will have to build utopia themselves, whatever that means. With hard work, tech will only ever be supplementary. And I agree because, listen, throughout history, we have developed lots of technologies. Technically, if we wanted to, we could make a utopia today, but we just don't, right? We have enough surplus of the things that can help humanity out. I do feel it's a little bit pie in the sky, but it is kind of funny how the sales pitch of AI is just like it's going to transform everything and make everything better, and it's like, well, I would agree if it is able to be disseminated equally, but we know that's not it. Yeah, Spook says, I agree with N King on this one. The tech will only aid us, not elevate us on its own. That said, as I copy numbers from one sheet to another, AI can have this job. Yeah, there's a lot of BS jobs out there. There's a lot of BS jobs. It's crazy, but but true. And Drew mentions, let's see if I could pop. Will it let me flip? Yay, flippity flip. Let me narrow this down just a little bit. Drew says, Utopia is nonsense. Thomas More wrote it once in a manner to make it clear that it is satire. Chat showed on screen. You could have left it on. Oh, really? Because I can't read it. I think the issue is that I can't read the chats. That's so weird. Like, let's see if it'll overlay. Nope. YouTube, it's showing up, but on my streaming apparatus, it is not. Butter D says the internet solved just as many problems as it created. Don't see how AI will be different. And this is the big issue here, right? Like, for example, it is being proven now, especially in the science, and there are many industries that are proving that AI is actually better than human beings already. The medical industry is one of them, that they are saying that deciphering medical evidence and coming up with solutions to those things are more and more being having a better result than the human beings that are operating it, and that medical industries and professions may even default to these AI systems with like a human being, monitoring or going like, okay, this is what the AI says. Let us take a look at it. You know what? It actually is correct to solve your issue. That's just one thing. AI is being used to bring there are two ways to make a lot of money, and of course, one of those ways is to make more money. Right? A business earns $100,000, they want to earn $200,000, make more money. Okay. The other way of doing that is reducing the cost of operation. And so now, mind you, there's a limit. There's going to be a limit to that. Can you bring the cost of operating all the way down to zero? That's a little bit unreasonable. We all know that. But using AI to make your business or job function or something more efficient is also getting better. Like, is it more efficient to, sign a piece of paper and have it go through seven hands, or is it just possible for me to email you directly, and can the AI do that thing overnight, um, you know, 200 times without having human beings involved in it? And that's true. The Yan King says, Butter, the problem is the sheer number of shenanigans that can be created. Yeah. Scammers cast a wide net and AI is extremely wide. Oh, maybe my argument for Utopia is going to break down real quick. But yeah, could I go into an AI system today and type in how to solve world peace, by making it very efficient to take the surpluses of food and disseminate it around the world in the most efficient way? Sure. Could I also go on it and go, how do I scam the most people to get the most money with the least amount of risk? And are people doing that? Of course they are. What Most recently, so my wife works in fraud. She works for an online bank, and specifically, she works with high end account holders. So they've got like 10,000, 100,000, 500,000, couple of $1 million in their accounts, and they watch the fraud because some of these people will wire funds and things like that. And the sweetheart scam is getting so good now that there are people being scammed with the voices of their loved ones who are calling them up on a phone or leaving voice messages. There are deep fakes of people, like a loved one in jail or arrested, and they're saying, hey, can you wire me money? Or their house flooded or burned down or something, things like that, and using a copy of the voice. And it's being used for famous people, and regular plebes being contacted by individuals that are famous. Yeah, it's crazy. Drew says, my comment about those who walk away from Omalas did not show up on your Twitch chat cutout. I didn't. If you made a comment in between, I didn't see it. I don't know what's going on. I honestly don't. I have zero idea what the heck is going on. All right, we'll work through it. We'll get through it. Let me see if my overlay chat will come back up. Please, please, please. Nope. Not doing it. It is not doing it. All right. So let me defend the Utopia. Okay. So between now and our, like I said before, okay, Twitch chat scared. Yeah, maybe. So the before we talk about our spiral down into the lowest common denominator, it's possible that we could use AI to ensure that everyone has a chance, if they just ask the right question, to get themselves out of their situation. Questions about, how do I get myself out of poverty? What is the best place I can live with the cheapest rent? How can I become more efficient at my job so now I have more time to become authentic? We're going to talk about authenticity at a later date, but yeah, are human beings by general like selfish and destructive and whatnot? I think a large enough percentage of us are that way because we know, but we also have some very quiet, minor, tucked in the corner individuals who really do want uh, the world. When I say the world, it could be their world, themselves, their family, their neighborhood, their genre of interest to do the best it can without hurting anyone else. And if we when AI learns from us as it's scraping our interactions, is it a net negative or a net positive? And some people say that it's probably a net positive. So when we see uh, people's heinous behaviors and people who don't deserve to get the attention that they do because of the criminal acts or destructive acts or just debauchery or deviance, and it gets a lot of attention. On the periphery, there's a lot of people who are going like, "This is ridiculous. People shouldn't do this. This individual shouldn't get paid to do these things." So there are negative. There are people who are actually pointing out the fact that maybe these behaviors shouldn't be good, and is AI learning from it, and then could it create solutions to those things? And maybe AI might be scraping the internet, even the most minor comments, going like, well, there's actually a sizable portion of people who don't want to see this material. Or um, let me get more specific, right? Like influencer culture is a thing, but there's also a lot of people who are like anti-clickbait, anti-influencer, and anti-fake smiley faces holding up product. And yeah, I hear you, NK. And so where does that leave us? So you guys say, Butter D says, I think children growing up with AI and AI products everywhere will have hard time discerning what is real art, real ads, real videos and voices, and they probably won't care to either. Yeah, I mentioned that the other day about um, the problem with people thinking that AI needs to make something perfect is that human beings aren't like that. We don't crave perfection. We crave good enough for the most part. Things that we're not interested in, as long as it's good enough, we don't care. So you are correct where it's like, if the music's good enough, fine, I'll exercise to it. If is the AI art good enough? Fine, as long as it just shows me what the product is, right? Even though it's not hiring a real photographer, it's not hiring a real musician, it's not a real expert, I don't know, graphic designer or editor, but if it's good enough, we pretty much get through it. That's where fast food comes from, right? And but we still know the difference between like a home cooked meal or a really great restaurant versus fast food. You know, I don't know. That argument. Wow, at Butter D, I really agree with you. But yeah, I think in the future maybe these people just won't care because it'll all just seem like a lie anyway. Drew says, I guess I will comment here then today, even though it is slower, but it avoids the hassle of toggling between two tabs. Yeah, because I have to toggle as well. The N King says AI has actually made me reassess the holodeck. Oh no. Drew says those who walk away sounds like a title from Omalis is a novel by Ursula K. Le Guin. Oh, I love myself some K. Le Guin. And like every utopia, it just deals with why those are just an illusion. DBJ, that's huge. I've been waiting for the holodeck. Yeah, like the flying cars. Yeah, yeah. Is there a way to pump this out? No. Let's see. Pin. No. Okay. They won't let me do it. All right. So, I guess we would have to define what is utopia, right? And from the most minor to the most dreamlike description. Now, some feel that the beginnings of utopia would be something like UBI, universal basic income, or whatever way they describe it, where you give everyone $1,000, $2,000 a month just for being a citizen of wherever you're at. Yeah, Spook says, I didn't crave perfection or just okay. I crave the strength and certainty of steel. Yes. The idea is that if we can raise up the minimum, the bottom level of people, and also here's another thing that's that I've been listening to on these podcasts about a utopic society is that we may need one. Corporations may default to giving human beings the, what is it, bread and circuses, right? They may need to give us the bread and the circus simply because the corporations are literally working themselves out of not ever gaining a profit ever. That capitalism will collapse in on itself. That the constant bubble bursting that happens with neo-capitalism is in itself a bubble that may burst, because the more people they put out of jobs, the more people that can't afford the product that they're trying to create. And there's no way they're bringing prices down, right? So the fewer people working may even earn more money in their jobs. Like, maybe there's not enough jobs for street sweepers and ditch diggers, but maybe those people digging ditches might make a lot more money doing it, so that they can afford to buy the products that are being created by these monoliths. But at a certain point, there will be people who can't afford to buy those things. And an easy way of proving this is to look at the movie industry and how much it costs for a movie ticket. And the price of a movie ticket keeps going up and up and up and up, because the price of creating movies keeps going up and up and up and up, because they keep incorporating more technologies into the movies. And the price of the snacks in the snack department in the movie theater keeps going up and up and up. And what that's doing is driving people away, because now we have more options for our distraction than going to the movies. And therefore it's a feedback loop, right? Fewer people, more people are like, nah, I'll wait for it to get on streaming. It'll be there in 45 days or less. And so I can just wait at home for the movie to come out. Therefore, I'm not going to go to the movies, which means that in order for the movie theaters to make more money, they have to crank the price up, which means that once they crank the price up, then yes, it looks like they're earning ever more money when the movie comes out. But that's really because instead of 3 people buying tickets, you've got 1 person paying for that exact same ticket, even more money. And so I can see that as an example of real life, where maybe fewer people can afford a brand new automobile because the price keeps, doubling, every 7 years or whatever. And the humans that can afford it, sure, maybe they're making more money, but there's a growing population that just cannot afford those cars. And the automakers are like, well, our profits are great. And it's like, yeah, but you're not counting how many customers you have. And I don't know, are we going to go over the tipping point where people just stop buying a thing? Like a company, I don't know, like Nike goes out of business because it's just like, yeah, we just can't afford your sneakers anymore. We don't have the disposable income. There's a large enough population of people that just can't afford those sneakers or something. And I think that's possible. I really do. I think it's possible. The End King says, Conan, the Gen Alpha barbarian. The riddle of the touch screen. That'd be kind of a cool movie. So one ditch digger is going to buy every laptop and watch every movie in the theater. He won't have time. He has to dig every ditch. Yeah, I see, and I think that's the illusion. Oh man, I'm supposed to be arguing for Utopia. I'm breaking my own rule. Okay, the corporate heads are not seeing the thing that we're seeing, which is every time you eliminate a job, right? Not necessarily firing someone, but you're just not allowing more people to get those jobs. We already see that in a very short amount of time. So I'm a Gen Xer, right? I'm an old grognard. I'm my mid-50s, and I came from the era that if you went to college, you got a 4-year degree, you went to college, the more college you did, the better job you would get. It was in my era, 90s, 80s, 90s. I was born in 70s, so 20 years old, 90s. It was a foregone conclusion. If you did the work, you went to college, you got a better job. Fast forward to now, I'm looking around and I'm like, is college worth it? Is it real? Is it really worth? Is the juice worth the squeeze? And I can see the argument like, nah, I don't think so. I I can see someone going like, yeah, you might not want to do that. You might not want to spend that money. Uh, yeah, you're right, Drew. Yeah, DBJ is a great cheerleader for the TTRPG hobby. For Utopia, not so much. Well, I don't know. I'm a glass half full person, so I see good things even when there are dark times. And I can see a time where I see the possibility of a good thing coming about. And I could see AI being able, if people ask the AI and present this question in over and over, basically training AI because AI is already scraping our own information, to scrape enough of its potential power to go, look, we already know it's draining energy, it's causing the ability to make those server farms and keep them cooled and things like that is already affecting our ecosystems. And we know that the corporate heads are pushing it and forcing someone like me to swallow the advertisement of how good AI is going to be and make our lives better. My thing is, we can literally just ask it to make our lives better, in mass over and over again, to get it to behave in the way we want it to. If it's going to learn from us, why don't we have it learn from us by the behavior that we present to it? That, hey, tool, AI gods, I guess would be a thing. A little blasphemous there, but AI gods. How do we make society better? How do we clean up homelessness? Show us how to put money aside to solve some of the issues that we have, even in small increments, right? Heck, can we make a task force or a government institution whose job is to follow the dictates of AI to make our lives better? I don't know. Yeah, Nkeek says chat might have uncensored weaponized as a result of AI deciding what we can talk about. Did you type that? Because I didn't edit anything. It could have. Well, let's be honest. YouTube, I've already showed you the AI creative tool on YouTube. I don't know if you guys have seen this before, but there is if you go to I'll show it another day, but in YouTube Studio, they have a new tab called Inspiration that uses an AI system that has scraped all the YouTube creators, and including myself, to come back at myself to say, hey, these are videos you could probably do for your channel. Enking says, no, that wasn't it. So then why was Butler's comment swallowed twice? What happened? Live chat. Let me. Huh. I don't know. So it's possible that there's some comments that are disappearing because let me pull up my YouTube. Am I actually literally not seeing the thing that I'm putting up on the screen? That is weird. All right. I'm paused. And the comment section. No, I'm not seeing. Honestly, I'm not seeing what you guys are seeing. Wow. I'm not gonna share myself. I was gonna share my own version of me looking at myself on my own YouTube channel. That's too much. That's a rabbit hole. All right. Yeah, sorry guys. Hey, remember, YouTube and other social medias are not a utility. We talked about this before. It's not a utility. It's not free. We are literally playing in someone else's backyard. And just because old man Whitaker lets us youngins play football in his backyard today, doesn't mean he can't change his mind, because it is his backyard, despite the fact that we get to play in it. So, yeah. Sometimes we think that these social media things are free. because they just let us play around on them. But it's like, no, if it's free, we're the product. Remember? Yeah, if we pay for it, we are paying for a product. If it's free, we are the product. Now, uh, oh, I wonder why it was automatic. There we go. Okay, okay, okay. There it is. There it is. Thank you, guys. Like I said, Luddite. Butler D says technology seems to be weaponized, end up in the hands of bad people and corrupt governments, often restricting access to the masses. How can AI stay in the hands of good people when nothing ever has? Ooh, that's a bit of a burn, which and a truism, right? Like, if you know what, I'll put it up there. I will. I'll put it up there. Because unfortunately, and I wonder how effective this will be, right? Where if AI is the ultimate equalizer, that apparently by me swallowing the hype, right, and being a utopia that everyone has access to it, that means even the smallest, most drowned out voice could have just as much an impact. I understand that's not really how it works. Usually, the scammer, the hardest worker, the person who's willing to do the thing that other people in a civilized society won't do, usually they rise up to the top. That's why sometimes visual influencers don't care about the side effects of what they're influencing about, which is why sometimes we see influencers influencing like horrible products or bad behaviors and things like that, and having other people, like a cult leader, like a politician willing to take the money and run, like a CEO with sociopathic tendencies. Yeah, I do see that, and I should be arguing for a utopia, but Butter D's not wrong. I do see a world though, and I'm going to argue this on a positive note, because while I agree with you, I do think these tools can be a dare I say, a counter weapon, counteroffensive for good people that they didn't have before. That might be factionalizing, like separating, you know, we are primarily a tabletop role-playing channel over here. So I could see people going like off-grid, separating, what is it? What's the term? Seceding. I could see that even happening, where it's like, instead of, I'm not going to get into a fight I'm going to lose, but what I sure can do is ignore everybody else and divest myself of the society that I was part of. I could see that happening, which might be like enclaves of, weird to say this, enclaves of healthy societal behavior habits, and everyone else eating their own tail or something. I don't know. Which in a way could lend itself to a type of utopia that people start like pulling their hair out, because I don't have my dreadlocks anymore. They start pulling their hair out and they're like, I'm tired of this, and they do the proverbial walk off into the desert to be lost to the sands, and then all of a sudden stumbling over the lost community that everybody thought disappeared, and they're just like, sure, join our commune and grow fruits and veggies and sit around and sing songs or something. Yeah, I mean that's a little bit more cinematic, but I could see something like that where the homeless community and unhoused community becomes so big that it becomes its own, I want to say, nation of sorts. I don't know. The Enking says, I think everyone here wants a better society, whether we call it a utopia or not. But we're not going to get there with a magic bullet. I agree with that. There's going to be sacrifices, hard work. There's going to be, unfortunately, there's going to be a highway paved with the lives and bodies and dead dreams of the people that wanted something better. But I do see, like, if AI can work in the background to bring about the worst things in the world, we could task it, and I see people wanting to task it for even better. Like, um, he's like, TV, I can't believe you don't have your locks. Yeah, yeah, yeah. For those who don't know, for actually for 18 years, and even a longer period throughout my life, but I've cut my hair before. But for like 18 years, I've had locks, and the entire time I had my YouTube channel, yeah, I've had like below shoulder length locks, and I cut them off. I actually have them saved. I may actually turn them into locks for love if it's possible for that. I haven't considered it, but yeah, yeah. This man's losing parking spots. Yeah, so I just decided to cut it all off, and it's easier too. I can just wake up. I mean, I can do this and just wake up and I'm done. But yeah, someone's definition of utopia, and mind you, we are dreamers, we're creators, we're cinematic, we on this side of the interwebs are very creative. And when we think of utopia, we can start layering on like diffused light and bleached robes running bare through fields of daisies. It's like, okay, maybe that's not utopia. Maybe utopia is the work week becomes 20 hours, 25 hours a week. That becomes the new full-time job, right? And here in the States, we start adopting like, hey, everyone should have at least 4 weeks plus of vacation time off a year, if not more. That, I don't know, individuals, we start viewing individuals pursuing their true authentic self. Maybe we start having become more of a maybe we start losing hustle culture here in the States, where it's constantly working yourself to death or whatever. Maybe there become institutions whose only job is to help you find your gift to the world. There's a lot of people. I think something that we tend to overlook is that while the world is filled with a bunch of plebes, those plebes could be future pianists and dancers and artists and child rearers and medical professionals and things like that. Except everyone's gift is being sublimated by hustle culture and work culture. We'll never see that person, and that person might be an excellent artist doodling on a napkin in their cubicle, and we would never know that. We would love to see them do some animation, or you know what I mean. There's a lot of us that are sitting doing the grind of the 9 to 5, or maybe it's more like 6 in the morning till 8 at night or something, whatever that grind and the new grind is. Everyone's an entrepreneur now. Everyone's trying to get like a passive income. Everyone, people are working 2 jobs just to make ends meet, and not having time to dream. But what if we had a culture where following your dream is not just like, you can do anything you want, thanks parents, and grow up and realize that's not really the case. But a utopia might be just, we're not going to allow you to live without experiencing the thing that you're good at, or that, well, actually work has 3 categories. I'll go into the 3 categories in a minute, but I'm going to read your comments here. Butter D says, if a government AI was programmed to respect groups and people that want to opt out of society, that could avoid a total dystopia if things went bad. But I doubt the state would program that in. Yeah, I mean, now mind you, that would be a good release valve, right? Because it's like saying, hey, you want to be part of our society? That's great. If you want to opt out, you can't have what we have, but you're free to go over there and live your own life in peace. That would be awesome. But yeah, but D, yeah, BD, that's governments don't let people. You can't have sycophants if they leave. They must bow down to you. How am I supposed to increase my ego and lord myself over people if everybody walks away? Can't have that happen. The N King says, in my mind, a utopia won't be perfect for everyone. People who hoard money, who we call billionaires, will not be allowed to fulfill their dreams at the expense of everyone else. And unfortunately, that is it. As a matter of fact, in many ways, this AI push is literally billionaires forcing it on us, right? Because the rest of us are going like, maybe slow your roll, slow down. Like maybe we should take a look at these things, and they're just like, look, my startup just got valued at $300 billion plus. My ass is trying to push this as fast, as hard as I can. Get, what is it? Get big quick, something like that. Yeah, yeah. GBQ, get big quick, something like that. And King says they'll just have to make do with like $2 million. Yeah, you know what? And what does that say about someone's psychological makeup, that you earn enough money to never have to suffer ever again? You'll never even have to live with the plebes, and yet your struggle is you need to make more money. But I think it's not the money though, because I think at a certain point the money becomes play money. I think at a certain point, at a certain level, the money isn't real any longer. And now what you're doing is you are trying to shape society, and you're moving and shaking with other people and institutions that are doing the same thing. So I don't think it's about the money. I think it's about the powerful influence. I think it's in many ways, even though I said it was something about AI gods, I do think the billionaires, and I think at a certain point we'll end up having trillionaires in maybe a dozen years or so, that we might even have trillionaires. Because if you're at 300 billion value, 1,000 billion is a trillion, right? So we're not too far away from trillionaires. And I think we will be, their behaviors and our ability to look at them will make them that much more closer to deified individuals. Speaking of sycophants, how is Obsidian Star coming along? You have not talked about it in a while. No, I have not. And it's cool. Yeah, I haven't talked about it in a while. Tabletop role-playing game. I'm using the Breathless mechanic, SRD. There's an OGL for it, combined with the Substratum Protocol version in the Orc license. Woo, it's complicated, but yes, and it has a lot of parallels to the recently released Daggerheart, which just blows my mind, because I'm like, oh damn it! But there's also parallel development, so whatever, it happened, because Daggerheart uses hope and fear, 2d12 dice, and you roll 2d12. One die is hope, one die is fear, and I have something similar to it, and it's gonna be like I stole it, which isn't the case. It's just a parallel development, but whatever. Anyway, we got, what do you got? 10 minutes, 10 minutes more. So work, definition of work, is a Venn diagram of 3 circles, and yeah, it's like, damn it, yeah, now you can collab. I can collab with everybody. Yeah, I intend on doing that, and I'm also separating the rules out from the fluff, so you guys can just use the rules if you see it. It's pretty simple. But anyway, hard segue. So work can be divided into 3 Venn diagrams. So imagine that work is either something you're good at, work is also something that benefits society even in a small way, and then work is something that fulfills you and what you do. And the ultimate goal is to have all 3 of those circles merge so much that they become one. Now, sometimes they're tangential. Like I enjoy what I do. I'm a letter carrier. I'm a mailman in the States, and I enjoy my job. I've got about 2.5 years left before I retire, which is good for me. Yay! And I'm going to end up doing this as my full-time job, probably 15 to 20 hours a week. I'll be like shorter videos, live streaming, blogging, getting on my social medias a lot more. I am not going to become. I'm not wearing the vest. I'm not becoming a Walmart greeter. So you're not going to see me wearing a red or blue vest, but whatever. But maybe something else. Uh, Butter D points something out. I've seen this before. Let's just say that technology has advanced 200% in the last 200 years. Are people 200% happier than they were in 1825? Wow, I don't think so. Will AI be different? Yeah, I don't see people. I don't see people getting happier. Um, but I think we can become more. I think what will. Okay, I'm trying to come up with an argument against you. All right. I think the ability for us to progress faster and expand our reach, I think, will be better today. So in 1825, if somebody had a great idea, it would have to be word of mouth and it would take a long time for that to propagate and spread. But I think today, if someone has a good idea that makes people happier and better, I think you have a greater chance of touching basically the entire world within a few weeks. You know, I think the only problem that we have today is that is the exact same thing of the reach. And for example, we have here in the States we have Amazon, and I know Amazon stretches around the world in very many ways. But unfortunately, what happens is that once somebody has that killer app, that thing, we very rarely get competition to that. And when an idea gets sticky, it pretty much stays sticky, even if it's for our detriment. And that's the hard part. So do I think people are 200% happier? No. I mean, listen, every generation, we always argue that you young people got it easy, right? I mean, hell, I find myself doing that, feeling like an old man yelling on my front lawn, telling the kids to get off of it. And is AI a part of that? Probably. But also, the rate of change may be so quick that even the young people today are going like, man, like, could we make things better? Sure. I think we could make things better. I don't know if we're 200% happier, but do I think life has gotten better? I think overall, as an aggregate, and I know this is horrible for people who are suffering around the world, but overall, percentage-wise, and I'm just talking on a pragmatic level, life has gotten better for most people since the 1825s. So I think it's not about, if I were looking at a diagram of a pyramid, and at the top of the pyramid is ultimate utopia, I think the bottom widest level of the pyramid, that base level is moving up. But unfortunately, I think there are some people. Unfortunately, I think the major corporations are trying to keep everybody down on that foundational level, and doing it either on purpose, like a lot of governments, or by accident from like a Sam Altman, who has OpenAI, and a bunch of these other people, that they're just like, they're always looking up at the sky and they're like, man, it's going to be so great, and they're not looking down at all the people that make the human pyramid, that are holding these people up, using their labor, their backs, their minds, their energy, because they can't do anything else, because they're literally standing there with somebody standing on their back, and you see, 1,000 people, holding these people up, and they're reaching the sky like, it's so glorious up there, if we could only reach it, and everyone down at the bottom's like, dude, you ain't reaching your hand back down to me. That's not happening. It's not happening. Yeah. Spook says, I have not died from catching a cold or an infection from a paper cut. I'm calling that a win over 1825. Yeah, I know. Remember, I'm going to challenge people with the inoculations and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, people were just like, I'm not taking any of those drugs because, they're evil. And I'm going, you do realize people only lived to like in their 40s and 50s, back when people didn't, take penicillin and stuff like that. Like, no one ever talks about that part. The suffering and the low life expectancy. Yeah. Or it could be, Thomas Anderson says, have you guys covered the fact that Utopia is an ever moving target, since as soon as you have it, you get used to it and have to one up it. There's a paradox, and I don't know the name of it. Oh, there's a paradox involving in that TA. Anyway, Thomas Anderson goes on and says, or it could be that they realized long ago and shared a secret that humans have to have strife or we reject our reality if it's too good, like in the Matrix. You know, um, I once heard that there's a happiness paradox that states that getting all of your needs met, the sooner you get your needs met, the less likely you are to value those needs being met. So if the a person who builds their own house by hand has more value living under that roof than the person who's given that house for free. And then anything in between, right? Like we if you saved up enough money yourself, you work hard enough to buy your first brand new car off the showroom lot, and that becomes your goal, is different than, say, winning it in a lottery. You know, the producers, the feline producers, they get to show up whenever they want to because they're that arrogant. As a matter of fact, they are both asleep right now. They're in their condo. They're both asleep. But yes, I have heard that will we, not will we. Okay. Some feel that struggle is necessary to struggle is to be human. And we even have YouTube channels dedicated to people chronicalizing their struggle. And what I mean by that is, there's a mountain, I'm going to climb it. Yes, I could get on a helicopter or ski lift or something, but I'm going to climb it. We see the physical toll it takes on people who want to carve their bodies or achieve a physical goal, to do a thing. We see survivalists out there who are like, I'm going to show you how to survive. They don't have to, but they choose to. And we may see a new push towards a struggle, a societal acceptance of pushing yourself to struggle in something, even though we have easy methods to get around it, just to keep those skills intact, because AI might be destroying so many things that the only thing we have to rely on is ourselves. So it could be that that struggle culture may be embraced a bit, similar to doing yoga or exercising, right? Like, no, I'm going to choose to not have this thing. I'm going to choose to not use this thing, and then that thing becomes value. It's much like there was a period of time during my era that they thought that there would become the death of restaurants and home cooked meals, that everything would be over processed, and it would literally the flavor and the ease and the cheapness of processed food was so good that we thought it would be the death of culinary skills, period, in first world countries. And it didn't happen. It was actually a reflection. And so, yeah, I've made. We're going to have to talk about authenticity sometime in the future during this series. But yeah, there may be a value of, I'm not going to trust the AI. I'm going to trust that person or those people or that group, because they're putting the work in, despite the fact that with a couple of keystrokes, they can make their life easier. And then therefore, that value, it may add that value to the thing they're creating. Like, yes, we have very good processed foods, but we still like home cooked meals. We still appreciate an honored chef. We still love greasy spoons, where you have literally a person in front of you cooking the meal and throwing it down on a plate in a sloppy way, tossing it in front of you with a bad attitude. And you're like, I'm loving every minute of this, as you take that slop and put it in your mouth, because it tastes so much better. The experience is so much better than the perfectly coiffed processed food that is still available to you at half the price and twice the amount of time. I mean, half the amount of time, TA says, we also have We also did not have mineral supplements. Yeah, to ionophores, which is all penicillin is. It bypasses the cell's blocking agents. Yet we didn't have that. So basically, these ionophores can carry minerals like zinc into a cell that will disrupt it. Oh, that's cool. That is how overdosing on zinc affects viral infections. Never heard of that. I'm always learning something new. Butter D says, you're right. Well, that's rare. You're right. People aren't dying due to colds anymore. They are dying due to suicide from depression. Yep. And emptiness caused by a wholly unnatural and atomized society and system. Ooh, pin this up here. Pin this fucking message. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like what was Judenfuzz pointed out the other day, that we are inundated with a an overflux of illusionary choice, that even when we make a choice, we feel depressed because we're missing out on every other choice that's out there. Talking about online dating, but not just online dating, talking about everything else. That if we, hey, I'll pick on me. We have so many streaming services, and we have such a glut of good material out there that we can engage with. Video games, movies, television, streaming services, whatever, distractions, that to choose one is to not choose any of the others, which is depression among itself. It's like social media, right? Social media is designed to keep you engaged, because the moment you're not engaged, you get the FOMO, your fear of missing out. And yes, that is causing a glut of why isn't the pin whatever. I'm trying to, anyway, I wanted it to go up there, but yeah, I'll just have to finger over it. Yep, depression, emptiness, loneliness. How many people today are walking in crowds and all the people in the crowds are lonely? Man, it's crazy. And created by technology too. Literally with algorithms designed to keep you engaged. And the more we are engaged in it, the least likely we are to engage out of it. And that's why, we have young people today that can't go up to, young dudes today can't go up to young women to talk to them. And the young ladies are like, why aren't guys talking to us? And it's like, because we not only do we not have the skills to go up to talk to you, but you're also on a platform that exemplifies the ability to embarrass me when being rejected. That kind of thing. That's why guys don't go up. It's like, why? I don't want to be rejected and embarrassed and talked about online when you're like, I can't believe this guy came up and talked to me. It's like, well, hell, F you, right? It's easier to get back in my phone or my computer. It's unfortunate, but that seems to be the case. And as a person who grew up without these things, I mean, I'm perfectly fine. I go up to anybody and have a conversation. It's actually pretty easy, really. Go up to any stranger, say hello, hey, just want to talk to you something, and look them up and down. And if you can't see something on them, ask them what they're interested in. And then what you do is you ask run-on questions about the thing they're interested in. And I guarantee you'll get them to and talk and go off, and they'll feel seen and respected by someone if you truly listen to what they're saying. That's just an easy go-to to have a conversation with a stranger. Find out what they're interested in and ask them infinity questions. No, yes or no's. Oh, so how did you feel when how does your family feel about that? What was it like when you first did the thing? Are you still interested in it now? Or how many people are interested in it? Oh, and then when they start talking about that thing, all you do is just keep asking run-on questions. Drew says, I appreciate things more for which I do not have to work for. Really, knowing that someone else had to sweat for it, or sparing me the exhaustion, it always worth my gratitude. I'm that way too. I am that way, where I'm just like, I'm glad I didn't have to do this, because that looks like some old bullshit to have to do that. You know what I mean? Like I'm appreciative of having my meal cooked for me, right? Like, it's like, I'm so glad I didn't have to do that. Not everybody is like that, though. It's unfortunate. That's where those lowercase k Karens came from. It's like, You do realize that you're privileged to have this thing. No, I'm going to the manager. Mm. TA's talks about it. It was a problem I saw with tracking COVID. Yeah. Yep. The N King says the bad news is your show is now at 3 a.m. for me, but I'll try to make it on the next one. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. Oh, you guys are going too fast for me. I'm trying to keep up. Try to keep up here. The suicide thing is why I said Utopia is an ever-moving target. Yeah. Far more things got far easier for the lack of a struggle to keep minds occupied, leads to focus on loneliness and such. Yeah, because we don't have a society filled with things to occupy the best part of us. So then we just fill that void with other things, and then we get into the loneliness cycle. Far more deadly than any struggle from before. Even coal mining without PPE or asbestos. Yeah, I lived very close to Virginia at some point in my life, and yeah, those are short lives for coal miners. And yes, there's even shorter lives for people. And not only is it shorter, and just as deadly, but we also don't have an over-the-counter cure for that thing. Like a coal miner, we understand the danger. There's protective equipment. It would be great to not have people do that, but we have a cure for that. Don't do that thing. Social media doesn't have a cure, and unfortunately, there's so many people that are invested in it that we don't have a built-in part of our society where you must click out of your social media. Like, you can't go on it, and they could do that. They could say, you know what, you've exceeded your time, and cut your social media time off. They could build that in there, but they're not going to do that. Butter D says, I'd rather have asbestos in my lungs and a happy, fulfilled life than have perfect lungs while being depressed, unfulfilled, and alone. Life has become easier to be depressed, unfulfilled, and alone with just a couple clicks. Whereas the asbestos, you actually have to do some work to get it. That's a horrible analogy that I just came up with, but yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Gonna bounce. All right, guys, have a great one. Yeah. Everybody have a great morning, afternoon, evening, overnight. Thank you very much. I did a horrible job arguing for Utopia. I apologize for that. The whole purpose of this is to find where people are focusing their attention on these AI systems and kind of like argue their point for them. And while I do think that, yes, these companies, the startups are arguing their point, and they want us to, swallow the Kool-Aid, drink with them. And in many ways, I actually believe that they believe it. Some of them actually believe what they believe. And I think it's because they're so far removed from everyone else. And mind you, people do have a drive that they do see a better world. But from this moment to that point is a dystopia for the rest of us. There's going to be, if AI does bring about a world of setting in motion the three, perfecting the three work habits, what you're good at, what benefits everyone else, and what brings you joy, and combining those three circles and bring it as close together into perfect unity. Could AI actually do that if it knows enough about us? Like, for example, maybe sometime in the future, they'll say, hey, I know you're an entrepreneur and you can make lots of money, but for 8 hours a week, I'm going to have you scrub toilets. And the AI may say, you're going to be scheduled to scrub toilets for 8 hours a week. And you're like, why would I even want to do that? I'm rich. I'm driving a nice high-end car. I've got, sycophantic, beautiful sycophantic people hanging around me. Why would I ever want to do that? And it may be the equivalent of Caesar one of the Caesars having a person speak in his ear, "You're just immortal." It may be that that person up on high should be scrubbing toilets to bring them down. We may have a AI may give us a thing where we don't have one job, we have multiple jobs, each of them fulfilling a different part of societal's need. Like, no, dude, get out of your high-end car and get out of your lavish lifestyle. You're gonna go scrub. You're gonna go empty bedpans, and maybe that person, after emptying those bedpans, goes, you know what? Yeah, I feel a little bit more fulfilled. Hey everybody, 28% of our population is going to have 3 hours of community service at a children's hospital, and we're all just going to have a society where AI goes like, nope, you're clocking out. You're going to the local children's hospital. You're going to go to the burn unit and read books to these kids. And that person goes, man, I can't imagine myself doing it. And then you go there and it's like, man, it makes my life seem fulfilled, and I'm glad I could do that thing. All right, time to go back to work, and then do, wash, rinse, repeat. So maybe AI will do something like that for us in the future. Tom TA says, we are going to need that coal to fuel the extra energy for AI, since it will drive energy needs of humanity to double its current consumption. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And Butter D says, thanks for the discussion, guys. We need to have hopeful people in the world to shine in the darkness. Oh, well, that's poetic. I really appreciate that. You know what? We're going to pin that message and leave it there. Yeah, we're going to continue these discussions. I'm going to argue the point of something else later on. Let me get to here. TA goes off on a educating the rest of us. Moving away from hurricanes and coastlines. Yeah. Water shifting around both oceans. Yep. Yeah. The whole thing. We get all these data centers making heat domes, which affects the weather systems. I don't know. But anyway, guys, thank you very much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for putting up with my technical difficulties. Sometimes it just happens. I don't know why. So anyway, have a great day, you guys. And we will see you here tomorrow on the channel that doesn't talk about tabletop role-playing games, but it's definitely about tabletop role-playing games. So you guys have a great one. I'll see you later. Bye. Peace.